Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's CITI program webinar. Today's topic is successfully navigating stress in research institutions and will be presented by Drs. Nemiroff and Thompson and Josh Mangan. A few quick notes. This webinar will be recorded and the recording will be available on CITI program's website. This webinar is for educational purposes only. It is not designed to provide legal advice or legal guidance. You should consult with your organization's attorneys if you have questions or concerns about the relevant laws and regulations that may be discussed in this webinar. In addition, the views expressed in the webinar are solely those of the presenters. Now, let me tell you about today's presenters. Carol Nemiroff is a dean and professor of leadership studies at the University of New Brunswick and principal at the Maine Regulatory Training and Ethics Center, MERTEC. Her primary research focuses on cognitive and emotional aspects of human information processing in daily life and under stress. Robert Bruce Thompson is a developmental psychologist, director of the Maine Regulatory Training and Ethics Center, and chair of the USM IRB. His primary research is focused on development of metacognitive reasoning and its role in critical thinking and ethical reasoning. Josh Mangan is the Research Compliance Training Manager at the University of New England. He teaches responsible conduct of research. He is currently working on his PhD dissertation on understanding research culture at non-research intensive universities that conduct research. And now I'm going to pass the mic to you, Josh.
So with that, I'd like to shift and talk about our learning objectives for today. So we're going to focus on trying to understand the nature, key triggers of stress, including individual and environmental stresses. We're going to focus on recognizing and predicting the physical, emotional, and cognitive impacts of stress, as well as identify techniques, resources for self-monitoring and self-regulating in stressful situations. And finally, talk more about how to structure the environment to mitigate stress in the workplace.
The word stress is also used to refer to the events or triggers that elicit a stress response. In other words, the stimuli that we respond to by feeling stressed.
A phrase common in the stress and cognition literature is hot cognition, which, as it sounds, it implies an escalation or a heating up. It's a state that psychologists describe as a narrowing of our perceptual focus. Earlier, we heard from Carol that there are complex feedback systems within the human body that regulate the response to stress. These are endocrine and nervous system responses, such as function of the HPA axis, that's the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis.
So there's a lot to say about time management, and I'm going to hit only two highlights. Especially in a high-pressure research environment, solid time management skills tend to be absolutely crucial. The two key aspects that I want to focus on are prioritizing effectively and managing effectively.
And again, for those that may or may not be familiar with the term research culture, in the last 5 years or so, this has been a growing emphasis, not just from funding agencies, but also within the literature, on ways to promote more effective research environments.
And speaking of subscribing, I would like to invite all of you to subscribe to our 3 podcasts on campus with CITI program, on tech ethics, and on research. And please also consider subscribing to our weekly newsletter.